Let's welcome in the Powerhouse panel for a little more reaction. Chris Christie in our studios making some interesting comments. Chrissy Clark, Mark Halperin with us, Hogan Gidley. Chrissy, by the way, I just want to make the audience aware. Hogan, Mark, not sure if you're aware of this. Chrissy Clark is playing a little hurt right now. She's got the flu, Chrissy, right? The flu?
Yep.
You don't look like you have the flu, by the way. But we appreciate you.
Makeup is a powerful tool.
What is it?
So makeup is a powerful tool.
Makeup's a powerful tool. Tamiflu, all that stuff. We appreciate it. By the way, sometimes when you play hurt, when you play with something like the flu, you can have your best game, your best show, if you want to look at it like that. Michael Jordan, I want to take you back to 1997. Jordan, this is Game 5, I believe, Utah Jazz. Jordan has the flu. He's got a temperature right around 102 before the game, 38 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. The Bulls would win the game and win the NBA championship. So, Chrissy Clark, we applaud you. Thank you. Not everyone is as brave as you. One of the people sitting right next to you, actually, not me. Mark, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Rob, what you just said makes me think you probably do need to switch over to those wired headphones and get that wireless stuff out of your brain.
Well, that was I don't get it. All right, Chrissy Clark, we appreciate it, though. I want to just quickly, something kind of interesting happened with Laura Ingraham last night, so we'll talk about that in a moment. The job of vice president is consequential. If you look back at our history, let's just take, all right, 1944. FDR is elected for his 4th term, all right? He knocks Henry Wallace off the ticket, and he brings in Harry Truman. Harry Truman, he drops the bomb, ends the Second World War, wins re-election again, shocks the world in 48 and wins re-election. That small maneuver in 1944 was very consequential. Think about, if you go back to 1973, Spiro Agnew resigns. All right, that gives us Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford loses to Jimmy Carter. If we don't have Jimmy Carter, we probably don't have Ronald Reagan. We probably don't have 12 years of Republican rule stretching from 1980 to 1992. Hogan, your thoughts. But that's why I think the Kamala Harris viability as VP question matters. We've seen it before.
It matters. It's not unprecedented to switch out vice presidents in this day and age, though. That would be obviously a massive story considering these two didn't really get along on the campaign trail. He ends up picking Kamala Harris. As you know, he had 2 criteria for vice president: not to be ready on day one, not to have a long list of experience, but the person had to be a woman and had to be of color. Those were his 2 choices, and so he settled on Kamala Harris, much to the consternation of many of his advisors. As Mark eloquently pointed out, so many went to him behind the scenes and said, don't pick her. There are going to be problems moving forward. We've seen those problems begin to spill out into the pages of the New York Times and other entities. And let's be honest, every time Vice President Pence and President Trump had a meeting, there was some leak coming out of it saying that their relationship was in tatters when, in fact, they had a pretty good relationship. So the fact that a press that largely covers for every single thing that Joe Biden does is now talking about some problems internally, not talking about policy, but palace intrigue for this administration shows that most likely it's probably true and there are issues.
Rob, since you're determined to turn Wake Up America into page 6, let me just clarify one thing if I could. The vice president's husband is very close to the first lady. He's very close to Pete Buttigieg's husband. So I think it's important not to overstate the degree to which this is about kind of personal negativity, personal attacks. This is a problem with the political abilities and functioning of the vice president in her office. It is not personal from the point of view either of the Buttigieg family or the Biden family.
Why? What makes you think it's not personal?
Disagree.
I think it's totally personal. I think it's all personal.
No, this is totally personal. And let's not pretend for a moment. You're telling me friends in Washington, D.C. of spouses and significant others and everybody, that's the norm. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make it not personal. This is absolutely a situation in which Kamala Harris went after the President of the United States on a debate stage and said some pretty disgusting, nasty things without proof, and then turns around and all of a sudden it's not personal. I don't buy that for 2 seconds.
Yeah, and I'll just go on what I know.
It's not personal for them.
Mark, if you can give me some actual sources, I'd be curious. I just look at Kennedy Nixon. Kennedy, hold on, Mark, one sec. Kennedy chose LBJ because he needed to win the state of Texas. They hated each other. They didn't like each other for the 3 years that JFK was in office. Bobby hated him. Bobby hated him after he left the AG's office. Okay, they didn't like each other. Totally personal. I think you could apply the same logic here.
You can't. They're not the same. They're not the same people. It's not the same situation.
Based on what?
They have close personal relationships. Beau Biden Beau Biden was very close to Kamala Harris, and that bond is a big part of why Joe Biden picked her. And it's something that in the Biden family is a trump card. If Beau blessed somebody, they were in the family.
But you're making my point. This long-term relationship they've had for decades, and Kamala Harris, after talking about how wonderful Beau Biden was and how wonderful Joe Biden was, literally called him a segregationist and a sex criminal. How is that not personal?
Well, she didn't literally call him those things. She implied those things. But I'm telling you, that's not personal. She said it herself. She was right. That was business. I'm telling you now.
She said she couldn't go to school because of his busing policies. How is that not personal?
Just hear me out. I'm not minimizing the crisis that the vice president has become. In fact, I think that CNN story probably had 10% of the actual chaos that's going on there. It's a huge political problem. It's personal for some of the aides to the president and the vice president. It is a source of extraordinary concern.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, overlaid that is a close personal relationship between Pete Buttigieg and his husband, the president and the vice president and her husband. It's just a reality. It makes it more interesting.
That does make it more interesting. That may have been the case. Put it this way, CNN, the report also said that Buttigieg might be being groomed for 2024. If that's the case, that close personal tie, that bond that you're talking about, that's going to fracture. Because Kamala's not going to say, you know what, you be VP. Or you be the Democratic nominee in 2024, Pete. Right. You did such a great job with the supply chain.
I think there's a good chance she'll assume the presidency and declare that she's not going to run for re-election.
All right, we got off the rails. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.